Times Network brought together activists, business leaders, policy makers, and everyday citizens in its inaugural India Climate Summit to address the impact of climate change. These distinguished voices have championed the cause of climate action. They have been raising awareness and protecting the future of our planet. The summit brought forth its commitment to foster a sustainable nation, uniting stakeholders in a common agenda. Gaurav Gupta, I.A.S, Additional Chief Secretary, Energy Department, Government of Karnataka, joined in a stimulating conversation discussing the innovations and strategies the state of Karnataka is embracing to create a more sustainable energy future.
The journey towards creating a sustainable energy future is a complex one. But the state of Karnataka has made remarkable strides.
And to do more of a deep dive on the innovations and the strategies the state of Karnataka, which is embracing to create more sustainable energy future, please join us in welcoming a very special guest on stage. If I could please invite Mr. Gaurav Gupta, I.A.S, Additional Chief Secretary, Energy Department, Government of Karnataka, to join us on stage for a very special fireside chat with our colleague Deepthi Sachdev from the Times Network. So welcome.
When it comes to bureaucrats, a lot of them, give you these ideas, answers, in a lot of these innuendos. But kudos to all the work, Gaurav, that, all of you have been doing, I think. There's a Karnataka model that we talk about when it comes to news of Siddaramaiah and a lot of these guarantees. But what is your Karnataka model all about?
Karnataka model is about sustainable model, and I think Karnataka is a state which excels in sustainability. Sustainability across communities, sustainability across water, sustainability across electricity, energy, and I think that's what Karnataka is known for, living in harmony with each other, with the environment, with the land and water around you. I think that's what defines Karnataka.
Karnataka can do this. Why can't other states? I mean, what is it that Karnataka has that you've been able to achieve so much? Is it because of the people there? Is it because of the conditions? Is it because of the polity? Is it about the bureaucracy? Whose idea is all this?
I think it's basically knowing your environment, knowing people around you, knowing nature around you, and living in harmony with them. And that's what I think is the end goal. Long time back, I think our rishis and munis, etc., they have also tried to live in harmony with the nature. And that's what people in Karnataka have been doing, how to harness the water, say for example, or electricity in a sustainable manner without affecting nature and yet able to meet their own requirements. Or say for example food, how do you exploit the soil or the water in order to have food products. So there are very many things which when you come to Karnataka, be there, then you realize that whether it is the hospitality sector or whether it is the health sector or whether it is the electricity sector, it's all about living in a harmonious and sustainable manner.
I think harmony is the key word that you've used multiple times. So let's look at facts now. I was reading through this that the state's journey towards clean energy actually started way back. This is in 1902 where you had this hydroelectric power generation station that was set up. Then you had a 2,000 megawatt solar power park in Tumkur in 2018. And this, we must tell our viewers, is the world's second largest solar park. Now you've also become the largest market for solar power. So clearly there is a lot that Karnataka is doing when it comes to the future, innovations and strategies. If I give you a minute to sum up what has Karnataka achieved till now, what would you say to us?
Yes, Karnataka, we were the first ones in the country to set up hydroelectricity or any form of electricity in entire India, way back in 1902. When the Shivana Samudra Falls, that is very close to Bangalore, The power was harnessed from there to provide power to Bangalore and also to Kolar gold fields. And since that time, I think Karnataka, because of the progressive leadership of the state, even prior to independence, set up a number of hydroelectricity production plants. And we were perhaps till almost early 70s sustainable in form of only hydroelectricity. We did not require thermal power, etc. But then thereafter, with the more and more energy requirement, we took it up. And when the wind and solar, that is the sustainable non-fossil fuels, etc., they came up. So then we started harnessing them. And I think the acme or the pinnacle of that was setting up of the Paugada solar power plant, 2000 megawatt at one single location, which 6 years back was, I think, quite a feat. It was the world's largest at that point of time.
Okay, and Gaurav, in the audience, I'm sure there are a lot of people who might not be very familiar with the numbers, the lingo that is essentially used when you talk of, the consumption, the production, and a lot of other things. So in simpler terms, if we have to tell the audience that in a state like Karnataka, that clearly is not just very ambitious, it's also very aggressive when it comes to a lot of these policies that you've adapted to in the last many, many years. What is it that sets Karnataka apart from a lot of other states?
One of the things which I have not talked about is about the scientific temper of the people and how that is deeply inculcated in the psyche of the people itself. So, adoption of new technologies and also harnessing any kind of new opportunities, etc., comes very naturally to Karnataka. So if we are talking about solar, if we are talking about wind, if we are talking about, I can talk about, say, for example, it may be biotechnology or artificial intelligence or anything like that. So we are basically working on several of the issues. And we are in touch, close touch with the scientific community, with the leaders, industry leaders and all. When we formulate a policy, and I am in the government, so I am talking about the government works very closely with the industry and the scientific community to ensure that we are able to, make the best use of what is scientifically and technologically possible. And that's how we have now started working on storage solutions, because we know that we can use more and more renewable energy and we can have a complete transition from thermal energy or coal-based energy to wind and solar energy, provided we have proper storage solutions. So in the coming years, we would like to see more and more transition and less dependability on coal-based power. And for that, we are working on storage solutions. But that is the key, and that's what we have been sharing at the national level when we talk with the national government and also with other states to see that how each one of us can progress in energy transition towards a fossil-free energy systems for the country of ours.
Gaurav, this is a political question. Is there really a north versus south divide when it comes to how people deal with climate change, realize that the danger is real and perhaps find solutions to it?
I wouldn't say that we are reacting to any kind of threat. In fact, very often the India climate kind of seminars and workshops and summits start from a threat which is impending on us. In Karnataka, we do not. We are not reacting to a threat. We are saying that, look here, the way together, the way in the future is way together. And way in, everybody working together and in sustainability with the nature. And that's the reason why we have taken it up. And let me assure you, more than 40 to 50% of power generation in the state right now is non-fossil fuel based. And I'm not talking just about the installed capacity, I'm talking also about the actual generation. There are days in which I need to bank down my thermal power stations because we have so much of solar and wind generation. And that's what other states also need to do, and they have been working at it. I think slowly we need to see how we can reduce the carbon usage and lead to a sustainable country and sustainable planet.
You are, you know, someone who makes these policies, gets a lot of these policies implemented. There are a lot of people concerns about, our government's also very reactive. Do they go into damage control very soon? Now, considering Karnataka, again, Bengaluru is a silicon city. You've seen a lot of stories coming out of how civic infrastructure is crumbling, trees are being fell off, buildings are being constructed. A lot of those things are real issues. And that again is a part of a larger conversation on climate change, and not just in Karnataka. I think elsewhere. You look at Delhi today, Delhi is also in a mess. And when you look at who's accountable, we get no answers, Gaurav. But when you talk of green buildings, a lot of stuff that you've done, why is it that we are still lacking in our efforts to check all this? Why is there still so much of discontent? And why do people sitting at that chair never listen to the people?
No, I would say that it all depends on people, and people aware about the surroundings, about their own surroundings. If you go to Singapore, for example, Singapore people are, the government talks to the people and tells them, look here, where does the water come from? Where does my power come from? Okay, where do my food products come from? And each one of the Singaporeans know about it. I was in Singapore, and one of the taxi drivers, he told me from where does the water come in Singapore. It comes from Johor, it comes from rainwater, it comes from desalination, it comes from recycling water. And this was talked to me by a taxi driver. And that's what needs to be done here as well. Our people need to know where does your water come from. And so therefore they can plan for, they understand the constraints, and then make a judicious choice to use less water or more efficient water. And likewise, when they know about say for example, where does the energy come from, they can make a conscious choice to use less energy. So, or have more energy efficient appliances. So the thing is that we need to talk at the leaders level, at the government level, we need to talk, and we have been talking with people about different issues which are around them, and so that they can make consciously better choices.
I want to push that point a little further, then we'll talk of your green energy corridor. Do the policy makers believe that the onus is just on the people? It's only on the citizens. Use less water, do this, do that. But why do we elect governments if governments are not accountable, Gaurav?
No, I should not appear that way. The issue is whether we use more resources or less resources has to be a choice. One. Number two is, if you want to harness more resources, obviously the government will provide for it and does provide for it. For example, every 5 years or 7 years, the electricity production has to double, and we are providing for it in the state of Karnataka as well as in the country level as well. Or if our cities grow, we need to provide for more housing, we need to provide for more roads, we need to provide for more airports or better transportation, and the governments have been providing to that. Not at all. The governments do not shirk and cannot shirk from their responsibility of providing more and more the facilities. But what I'm saying is that the citizens need to know that if you are consuming more, that energy needs to come from somewhere. And that energy will come from thermal sources as well if your renewable sources are not very well developed. And likewise, if you are consuming more water, the water will have to come from somewhere. So you have to make a conscious call for that. And yes, the governments are taking decisions on this nature. And let me confine myself to the energy transition. I think energy transition is real. Energy transition is happening. It is happening in sync with what is happening in the world. Let's not talk only about India. Let's talk about Germany. Let's talk about Japan. Let's talk about US. Every state, every country is looking at energy transition. California, for example, has taken on, Texas, for example, which is known for oil and gas, has taken on a lot of wind and solar generation. And together with that, you need to have storage. And these solutions have been found there. Germany, France, and Britain, they have been also talking about how they can lessen their power generation from fossil fuels. So we have been working with them. We have been collaborating with them to see how this can be taken forward.
What does Karnataka have that the other states don't have? And what is the big national picture? You know, that people and states can learn from Karnataka. I can just give you 2 minutes because I'm already getting indications. Our guests are waiting, and so are the next panelists.
Yeah, I would say that Karnataka offers a sustainable future in each of the activities it does, and also global integration. There is when we are talking about Bangalore and the global capability centers that have been set up in Bangalore by most of the majors in the world. So we are trying to find solutions not only for Bangalore or Karnataka or for India, but for the world. And I am very happy when I see engineers from Bangalore traveling to Europe, traveling to US, and trying to find solutions for those countries. And they are doing it in Bangalore. And that's what makes us be very proud of what we have.
Huge round of applause for Gaurav. It's rarely you get bureaucrats as candid as this. Thank you, Gaurav, for your time.
After the break, witness Rahul Bose in an invigorating conversation discussing his journey as an activist and what climate change is doing to the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a very special conversation with a renowned celebrity come climate change activist. Please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Rahul Bose on stage.
Hello, Rahul. Thank you very much. What a pleasure and an honor to have you here on the India Climate Summit. Thank you so much. Can I start by asking you how an actor becomes a climate activist?
All of us have different likes and dislikes, different passions. So this was something that I got very involved in. When was COP15?
That was in Copenhagen, right?
Yeah, was it 2012?
11, 12, I would say.
I'm thinking, yeah. And that's the time that I was, in fact, it's very interesting. The Climate Action Network asked me to travel to Canada to campaign for climate change. There were local elections happening in Canada. And they had a lot of candidates of Indian origin and a lot of voters of Indian origin. And the Climate Action Network wanted me to go house to house and just ask voters to make climate change one of the parameters on which they decided to vote or not vote for a candidate. And I said, I'm here just to talk about climate change and how it affects you on a daily basis, and therefore why it should be one of the most important parameters to elect a leader, provided she or he, depends on their stance on global warming and climate change. There are issues that we can all be concerned about because we see the horror of it. Whether it's cancer in a small child, whether it is child sexual abuse, whether it is the ravages of an earthquake or a tsunami. And to react to these events, to these moments, are fairly easy because they appeal to sympathy, they appeal to the fact that there's somebody in a really, really bad spot. We get that. But the problem with climate change, even today, despite what's happening, is it's somehow remote.
Distant.
Not only is it distant, I somehow can't change it. Somebody else has to be doing that. It's the weather, Shreya. What am I going to do about that? God, this world is going crazy. That's it. If somehow people could be made to understand how immediate and individually affecting climate change has become, including to all of us in this room, in the city that you live in, and the one I live in, then people will start to care. It's beginning to happen at the penumbra. The umbra is still, change always happens on the outer edges of the penumbra. So the umbra is still very much not affected. Even today, people are saying, oh, unemployment, inflation, all of these things. But finally, who votes how and when? I really doubt it's a pressing need that we all say, okay, who can do this for me better? Who cannot do this for me better? You know, I find that in general elections, people are talking about roads and about schools and about hospitals. I'm like, you should be voting in municipal elections. If it's garbage and streets you're bothered about, you should be voting in municipal elections. How many of you do? And if it is a state subject like sport, then you vote in your assembly elections that you're bothered about. Here you should be bothering about policy, ideology. Where is the country going? You know, how is it going to, where's our entire growth trajectory going to happen? What kind of, et cetera, et cetera. Those are general election topics. I won't say it was too late. It is so late that we keep saying it's not too late. But it is so late that unless you make massive political choices, policy choices, changes and transformation, you're not going to beat this. It's not going to happen. Yes, please do use a wooden toothbrush and stop using plastics. Who would say no to that? But if you really want things to change, it ain't happening this way. And I could see that at COP15. Where was the political will then and where is it now? Where is it? Who's actually turning around and saying, done? You know? No, that's not the conversation. It still isn't. And the reason for that is very simple. You're not going to see the suffering that is going to happen in your lifetime. And that comes down to the essence and the brutal reality of human beings. We don't care about those who come after us because it demands from us not immediate empathy. It demands from us a potential empathy, an empathy for people to come, an empathy for a planet in which I will not be there. And it is such a fine quality of empathy that you're asking for human beings. I haven't seen it. I have probably seen it fingers of both hands in my life in human beings. The ability to say, not for me, but for them. And that is why, that is the fundamental reason why this doesn't work.
You sound like someone who's given up hope already.
Given up hope already? You know, you got to keep living, man.
Rahul Bose, thank you so much. What a pleasure this has been.
Sorry to depress you.
It's a reality check.